This is part 4 of the course on the Juche Idea, and today we're going to look at the concept of creativity. As we've learned in previous lessons, creativity, along with independence and consciousness, is defined as one of the core attributes of man or humans by the Juche Idea. People may think creativity is about art, about creating wonderful paintings, or writing stories, or maybe even cooking. And of course, creativity can be expressed in many fields of human life. Today, we're going to learn about how the Juche Idea views and interprets creativity. It can be said that the attributes of independence, creativity, and consciousness form a trinity. They are interlinked, and each attribute cannot exist in complete isolation from the others. Creativity is another essential feature of man as a social being. Man has independence and also creativity, and is thus fundamentally different from other living things in the world. Man is a being with creativity, that is, a creative social being. General Secretary Kim Jong-il wrote in his classic treatise on the Juche Idea that was published in March 1982, wrote as follows: creativity is an attribute of a social man who transforms the world and shapes his destiny purposefully and consciously. End of quotation. And I think that puts the concept of creativity in a nutshell. Creativity is an attribute of a social man who transforms the world and shapes his own destiny with purpose and consciously, rather than blindly or acting on instinct. Because man has creativity, he is able to transform nature and society according to his will and his demand. Man's creativity is not just limited to the sphere of transforming nature to suit his needs. He can also change society. Old, reactionary, exploitative, and unjust societies can be overthrown and replaced by socialist societies in which oppression and exploitation are abolished. Socialism fully unleashed man's creativity. Now, let's look in detail at what the concept of creativity actually involves. Firstly, it is the quality of social being who transforms the things and the phenomena in the surrounding world actively and purposefully in conformity with one's desire and interest. Man approaches the surrounding world not passively but actively, and acts not blindly but purposefully from an independent desire and interest, not to be subordinated but to dominate. Perhaps some people doubt whether it is creative activities that animals dig caves and build nests with twigs or leaves. Of course, such a doubt is reasonable because monkeys and chimpanzees do indeed get food by using stones and sticks, and beavers build embankments to protect their places by cutting down trees with their teeth. But such activities of animals are not actually creative, even though some people may think they are. If so, the methods of their activities would have changed and developed according to conditions and circumstances with the passage of time. But their activities are the same as in the past and at present. Animals have dug caves for thousands or even 10,000s of years and are still digging caves to live. And animals made their nests long time ago and are now doing the same thing continuously. Monkeys, too, use stones and sticks for their living for years, but they have not developed the tools even a little. This means that animals' activities are not creative. In other words, it shows that animals have no consciousness and accordingly cannot make any purposeful and conscious transformation of the surrounding world. Basically, the activities of animals are governed by instinct. However, man is fundamentally different from this. Of course, sometimes people use the natural circumstances and li- uh, living materials of the surrounding world as they are. Even in the case, they change and remake the structures, forms, and characteristics in conformity with their interests and demands. People abolish or change the unfavorable, unnecessary living conditions in their favor. They work to improve their environment rather than adapting themselves to it. They build embankments or change the direction of the flow of rivers in order to prevent floods. Since they change and remake structures and forms and characteristics of things and phenomena in the surrounding world, they are able to dominate the surrounding world for their sake. Over the decades and centuries, man's creativity, his ability to change and remake the world, have increased greatly. In the past 100 years, man has flown into space and developed atomic energy. Diseases that were once considered incurable have been conquered by medicine. Creativity is also a quality to make new things. People not only change and remake things in the surrounding world, but they create new things that did not exist in ready made forms. They are not satisfied with given things and continuously create new things from the independent desire of the people. The most important characteristics of the creative activity of man is that he does not confine himself to partially changing and remaking given things, but creates new things that did not already exist. Of course, this means that people did not create the materials which are not in the world, but create things that have completely different qualities by using materials. Modern information equipment, such as robots and computers, which are replacing heavy manual labor with automatic machines, and the material and mental wealth necessary for living conditions, are the product of the creative activity of people. By their creative activity, man makes new things and artificial things that can not be made by nature itself and continuously expands the scope of domination of the surrounding world with these things. Man not only changes and remakes the things and phenomena in the surrounding world actively, but makes new things. Thus, he is a creative being. The quality to remake and change things in the surrounding world and to make new things are linked with each other as the content's creativity and is manifested in human activities to transform the world in a unified way. Scientific technique and technical knowledge is the basic factor to define creativity, one of the essential attributes of man. Scientific and technical knowledge is a social consciousness that reflects the essence of things and phenomena, the law of motion and the methods to apply it. Man can conduct creative activity to abolish the new and to abolish the old and create the new because he has scientific and technical knowledge. Of course, creative activity of man is connected with experience and function, skills, and physical strengths. But practical experience, functions, and skills do not play a decisive role than scientific and technical knowledge in the creative activity of man. Furthermore, physiological activity and physical strength of man itself are only the material basis and guarantee for his creative activity. The main thing in determining creative activity of man is the scientific and technical knowledge, which are the creative ability of man. Because of the continuous development of scientific and technical knowledge, the creative ability of man can develop more and more. Man has scientific and technical knowledge and can thus conduct creatively and fully display creativity with the continuous development of scientific and technical knowledge. Indeed, we can see this happening all around us. What is important here is the fact that the scientific and technical knowledge is not quite the same with creativity, although they are closely interrelated with each other. Only when man has scientific and technical knowledge would he be a being with creativity. Creativity is the concept to characterize the creative activity man makes with scientific and technical knowledge. On the other hand, scientific and technical knowledge is the fundamental guarantee that enables man to have the creative activity and the proof that he has creativity. This should be made clear. As there is the saying, knowledge is power, which is indeed true. Man is the most powerful being in the world as he has creativity and will be the complete master of the world with the continuous development of his creative ability. And that's the end of the lecture. And the questions I'm going to pose are as follows. Number one, what do you understand by creativity? Number two, do animals have creativity? Number three, do you think there are limits to creativity? Number four, how is creativity expressed in everyday life?